What's going on YouTube? So with global sales of over 50 million units, the Toyota Corolla is the most popular vehicle in the entire world. So it's an understatement to say that when Toyota makes changes, the world pays attention. And that's exactly what's happening this year. Next to me is the refreshed 2023 Corolla, which gets a number of meaningful updates that go much deeper than just the usual styling revisions. So how does this updated model stack up against the Civic and others? Let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's kick off this review first and foremost by talking about the trim levels. So if you remember previously, if you wanted a Corolla hybrid, you had to get the base LE trim level. That, of course, is not the most desirable trim level because it doesn't have the most equipment, it doesn't look the best. Well, Toyota has changed that. Now you have the SE as well as the XLE choices for the hybrid model. Now what I'm standing next to today is the SE trim level, and not just the SE trim level, it also has a new package called Infrared. This is going to be roughly $500, and as you can see, it does add some red accents around the vehicle, including up here in the front, where we have this accenting that runs all the way across. I think it looks really good on this white paint. Now let's talk about, in general, what we're going to get with the updated Corolla. So you are going to have a somewhat revised grille. It's not radically different. As you can tell, it does look pretty much the same, but we do have a mesh finish here with the SE, and you also get that on the XSE trim level as well. Now we come over here to our headlights. These are upgraded for 2023. You continue to find standard LED headlights across every single trim level, but the signature finish is going to be a little bit different this year. As you can see, this daytime running light and turn signal indicator is all one piece, so it has a little bit more of a sophisticated shape for 2023. Next up, let's go ahead and take a look at our wheel options. So you do have a variety of different selections, including, small silver ones on your lower end trim levels. However, if you choose one of these sport models, as in the SE or the XSE, you're going to get these. These are the 18-inch alloy wheels, and you'll notice they do have a new gray graphite finish, which I think looks, again, very nice, especially with the black accents around the rest of the exterior. Rising up here to the top, we do have an LED turn signal indicator built in. These mirrors are going to be heated on all but the very base model, and if you want blind spot monitoring, you'll need to choose one of the X trim levels.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and talk about the side design as well as the overall length for this refreshed 2023 Toyota Corolla. Now, in terms of the length, of course, that doesn't change for a refresh, so we're still looking at 182.3 inches for your overall length figure, which makes it around 12 inches longer than the sedan, or the hatchback, excuse me, if that's something that you're looking between. Now, as far as some of the design elements, you will notice a few unique ones. So since we do have that infrared model, we do have this lower area that's going to have a black as well as red accent. It looks really great with this white paint color. And speaking of paint colors, there are two new colors for the refreshed Corolla model. Now, moving around to the rear design, you're going to have a very signature Corolla look. Now, Toyota has changed a few elements, although it's not like a ton or a giant difference. So let's go ahead and break down a few of those changes. So up at the top, we do have an integrated spoiler. That's going to be for the SE and XSE trim levels. It's a nice little lip spoiler. We have our blue hybrid badge. Going through the middle here, we have a black piece connecting the taillights. The taillights are going to be unchanged for 2023, so they're going to be partially LED. You have an LED brake light, however your turn signal as well as the reverse light are both going to be incandescent. If we drop down, of course, we have our SE branding, our hybrid branding, and then here are our changes. So in this lower diffuser area, you're going to see quite a few different things. First of all, since we have the infrared version, we do have a red accent going through here, and this entire area is new for the refreshed model. So it used to be a nice like mesh design. Now it's going to have a little bit of a sportier look for the SE and XSE trim levels. We're still going to keep the dual exposed exhaust outlets here on the right side though. Now, another change for 2023 comes in the way of your safety system. So Toyota is updating it to their newest safety suite, which is Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. So that includes all of your basic stuff: forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, auto high beams, and adaptive cruise control. Plus it adds a few extra goodies to make it function even better and just kind of refines the overall experience. Now, as far as your warranty information, Signature Toyota warranty, 3-year 36,000-mile basic warranty, 5-year 60,000-mile powertrain warranty, plus 2 years and 24,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Well guys, that wraps up the exterior design for this new infrared Corolla. Now let's go ahead and hop on the inside where they have made some 2023 changes.
So walking up to this Corolla hybrid, we do have a smart entry system, and as you can see, this is Toyota's typical smart entry key fob. Getting inside is as simple as just reaching behind the handle and it will unlock the door. And there is the refreshed interior. We'll go ahead and climb inside and take a look at all the details. But let's go ahead and take a look around at the material and color options. So you do continue to have cloth seating on your L through your SE trim level. Your XLE trim level will be soft text, as well as your SE trim level, excuse me. As you can see, we do have the cloth seat. We, of course, have the infrared edition, the new version. And this is basically going to be an option package that gives you red accents inside of the cabin on top of the cloth seats. Looks pretty nice. Now, as far as the seats themselves, they are going to be manually adjusting until you choose one of the X trim levels. Now, taking a look up here at our door trim, we do have a nice leather material through here. As you can see, we got that red accenting that runs over here in the piano black around the 4 fully automatic windows. All of the top part of this door trim is going to be soft touch as well. As we go to the upper dash, all of this is also going to be a nice soft touch plastic. Feels nicely put together. We have a leatherette material through here with a stitching detail. And as we come down to the middle here, the only part that's going to be hard touch is actually just along this console here. Now to fire it up, of course, put your foot on the brake and press the button. We do have that new Toyota hybrid startup chime on board. So taking a look at our gauge cluster right off the bat here, as you can see, we've got the more basic, mostly analog cluster. It is going to have the 4.2-inch multifunction display on board. This is on the L through the SE trim levels. XLE and XSE get a new 7-inch display, which is going to, give you that nicer looking gauge cluster. Coming back here to the steering wheel, we've got that typical Corolla design. It's going to be nicely leather wrapped on most of the models. Manual tilt and telescoping, of course. But let's go ahead and take a look at interior storage. See how practical she is. Underneath of our center console here, we do have a decently sized console. It goes down pretty good ways. It's felt lined at the bottom. We've also got a updated USB-C port and a 12-volt outlet. Let's put it to the test though. I don't know if these coupons are gonna fit. Ooh, it's looking sketchy. So it does technically fit, but they're gonna get a little crushed. So I'm not really thinking that's a great option for your couponing. You might have to stick them in the glove box. We've also got our 2 cup holders, of course, and then up here in the front, we've got a really nice looking wireless phone charging pad, which is quite large for even a big device, and another USB-C. Now pulling back here to the shifter, got a nice traditional style shifter. I do like this special leather wrap shifter with the stitching details on this infrared. Really feels good in the hand. When you head into reverse, of course, you're going to find a standard backup camera. This is just a guideline. It's not an active trajectory. We also don't have any parking sensors on this version, of course, since this is, one of the more affordable versions based off the SE version. And then back behind it, we do have electronic parking brake with a brake hold function. Now as we rise on up from that, you're going to find either a single zone automatic climate control setup or a dual zone automatic climate control setup. Just like with many of the features on this vehicle, it's going to be dual zone with the X trim levels, since those are the more premium models. Of course, with this, very simple to adjust. Just twist the knob to change your temperature, and you've also got your fan speed adjustments right over there. You would also have available heated seats on those upper models as well. Now, talking about our audio systems real fast, you've got a 6-speaker sound system or an available 9-speaker JBL sound system. That's actually what we have today, and let's go ahead and give it a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality is pretty nice for an affordable vehicle. Definitely has plenty of bass. All right, so let's talk about the big tech enhancement right up here in the display. So probably the biggest change actually for the 2023 Corolla. That's the fact we now have a standard 8-inch display across every trim level. Not only that, but Toyota has flashed this system with our new Toyota Multimedia Infotainment System, which is a big improvement in my opinion. We've got our shortcuts over here. Overall performance is really snappy. As you can see, we do have the built-in navigation system on board with this model, and we've got standard wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. Rising above here, we do have a manual dimming mirror on this trim level. You've got newly added full LED lighting inside of the cabin across the lineup. And we don't have a sunroof on today's specific example, but you do get one on the X trim levels, and it is available as an option on these lower models.
All right, guys, so here we are in the refreshed Corolla's rear seat. Now, as you would expect, this vehicle is just a refresh, so you're not going to have different legroom figures or anything like that for 2023, but there are a few changes in the rear that I do want to point out. So let's go ahead and hit the space first, and then we'll hit those changes. So as far as the space is concerned, we're looking at 34.8 inches of legroom, 37.1 inches of headroom. The headroom figure is right on par with that of the Honda Civic. The legroom figure is a little bit less than the Honda Civic, so you're going to have less space in the Corolla than that Space Leader Civic model. Now, that's not to say it's problematic though, because I'm 5'9". As you can see, I have plenty of space. Now, let's go ahead and dive into some of those features. So here in the center, you're not going to have any vents. However, there is a new feature for 2023. You're going to have USB Type-C ports in the rear. I'm very pleasantly surprised to see that in a vehicle of this price point, to have 2 USB Type-C ports, so anyone in the rear can keep their phone charged up. And then we can also fold down the center armrest. That's another feature that a lot of the vehicles in this segment actually get rid of. So it's nice that Toyota is including that. Plus we do have cup holders inside. And then turning to your door trim, we have a hard touch door trim. That is, of course, expected for this segment of vehicle. That said, the armrest portion is a nice leatherette. We have red stitching details going through that. And we even have a red accent going through the piano black. So this is a very nice looking door trim for this segment of vehicle. And we do also have a little bit of bottle storage in the bottom. I also want to point out small details like this have changed for 2023. So you have some LED interior illumination, which gives it a brighter and more premium cabin experience. Now walking up to our tailgate area, if we pop open the trunk, there is a button integrated under the lid, and as you can see, it opens up just fine. And as far as the space itself is concerned, we're looking at 13.1 cubic feet of cargo capacity. That is unchanged from the pre-refresh Corolla model. And it is a little bit less than what the Civic is going to give you once again, but 13 cubic feet is a good amount for this segment in general. Now, as far as some of the finishings, you do have 60/40 split folding rear seats. I don't see a handle to do it from back here, so I think you have to go to the second row itself to fold those seats down, but they do fold 60/40 split, which is nice. And then if we lift up the cargo floor, we do have a nice floor. I don't believe you have a spare tire for the hybrid. I do believe that's for weight savings. Now for your passenger seat, it's going to be manually adjusting across every trim level of the Corolla as you would expect. And then as far as the glove box, let's pop that baby open. We have a really good sized glove box. It's kind of funny, we filmed the Toyota Crown today, and this glove box in the Corolla is actually quite a bit larger than the Toyota Crown, which does mean we can get out our coupons. Let's see what sounds good to me. Let's do a $4 2 croissant sandwich meal. I love these names. These are very creative names. We just throw that in there, so you're going to save money on gas, as well as the price of the vehicle for this Corolla Hybrid. Up top, we do have a sun visor. It's going to be made of kind of a hard material. We do have a mirror, though, as well as some illumination. We can also detach it, and there's an extension in the end.
All right, and there are 60 miles per hour in the Corolla Hybrid. So I'm excited to get into this section because this is one of the more substantial areas of updates. We do have an upgraded hybrid system on board. It's the next generation. I believe they said it was the 5th generation of the hybrid system. And it does have 24% more horsepower than last year. So we're looking at a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine plus your electric powertrain. That's going to make a total system of 134 horsepower.
156 pound-feet of torque, too.
156 pound-feet of torque. One of the things just taking off there, because this is our very first impressions of this model, was the electric torque.
Yeah.
It really felt nice getting right off the line there when I was taking off. I can tell a difference, I believe, from that last hybrid that we drove. Right. I don't know about you, Mason, but
yeah,
it did feel more spunky.
It felt fine. You know, the Corolla is obviously not going to like blow you away when it comes to speed. That's clearly not its mission. But I really do strongly feel like this Corolla, especially in its hybrid configuration, has enough pep in its step for the average person. And especially with the electric torque kicking in, it feels spunkier than the 134 horsepower would suggest, for sure. Now, of course, there are other options. If you don't go for the hybrid model, you're going to get a 2-liter engine as standard equipment. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 169 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. And the news about this is that it is now standard on every single grade of the Corolla. So if you go for a gas Corolla, you're getting that 2-liter motor, which that previously was for the higher trim levels. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely takes off quite nicely under the electric torque.
We were outpacing the Civic in front of us.
We could have blew the door off of that Civic. But yeah, in terms of the other option, the gas-powered option, like Mason was saying, substantially more powerful as well than that's 1.8 liter that used to be standard.
Yeah, that one was real slow.
I think it said 2 seconds faster, 0 to 60. So that's a big improvement as well. I appreciate Toyota has improved the power figures on both models because more power is better. Let's get a straight line acceleration from a stop here real fast.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. I also want to talk about the transmission situation. So with the hybrid model, you'll continue to have an eCVT transmission, but the other piece of news is with the gas-powered option, that one's going to come with that transmission that was previously reserved for just the SE and the XSE trim level. Basically, it's a system that has a physical launch gear and then that hands off to the continuously variable transmission. So basically, you get one real shift, and then the rest of the time you're having shift simulations.
Yeah, Toyota calls this dynamic shift CVT.
Yeah, and basically that just helps with overall responsiveness in addition to having the extra horsepower that you have this year.
But I do want to take a second here to talk about your ride quality and just the way this Corolla feels behind the wheel. For the refreshed model, not much has changed in terms of the ride quality department. It feels very similar to the outgoing Corolla. That said, we do have a pretty good ride quality. It's as good as you would expect anything in this segment to have. We do have the larger 18-inch wheels, so you can feel bumps if you hit something, but that's obviously what you expect in this segment of vehicle. And we'll get a sound level reading as well when we slow down to 55 here.
You're kind of coasting down the mountain here. I'll try to shave off a little speed.
58.8 decibels is going to be our sound level reading. That sounds very accurate to me. You can, of course, hear a little bit of road noise, but I think it's overall pretty quiet. And another big change for 2023 for this Corolla is that the hybrid model is available with all-wheel drive for the very first time. So that's obviously a big difference because a lot of people were wanting that all-wheel drive system. You could not get that on the hybrid before, and now Toyota has listened and added that as an available option for the SE and LE trim levels only. So you cannot get it on that top-end model, but you can get it on those two trim levels.
And I do want to point out just how fast that you can be going and still be in the hybrid system. As long as you're under low load, it will turn off the engine. Like we were just going 50 and the engine was completely off. Obviously that's just going to help you save a lot of fuel.
Yeah, and the handoff is imperceptible.
Absolutely.
With every Toyota, I'm impressed, and this is no different. Toyota doesn't cheap out on their hybrid systems for their cheaper cars. It really is the same system, and it does such a fantastic job of just blending into your lifestyle. You will never be able to feel when this engine kicks in and on and off.
Yeah, and this iteration, it just keeps getting smoother and smoother with time.
Now, as far as your fuel economy, Drew is mentioning how efficient this hybrid is and how it's able to achieve that fuel economy. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So we're looking at 48 MPG combined for the hybrid all-wheel drive. So that new model that you have the option of getting, 48 MPGs. That is exceptional fuel economy, guys. I mean, you're going to be saving so much money if you own one of these Corolla hybrids. And if you go for a front-wheel drive, it's actually rated at 47 combined. So I don't know if that's a EPA typo or something, but front-wheel drive model actually is rated a little bit lower, but both are going to be exceptionally good fuel economy. And that exceptional fuel economy is easily going to be today's slam dunk because it's one of those things. It's about the best fuel economy you can get. There's no such thing as a Civic hybrid, which I think is kind of odd. So if you're looking for exceptionally good fuel economy in a small vehicle like this is going to be one of your only options, and it does a fantastic job.
And for today's airball, what I'm going to say is that they could have done a few more enhancements to the interior to make it a little bit nicer. I only say that because I've been in multiple versions of the Civic, including the one that's equivalently priced to this version, and it definitely does have a nicer cabin in terms of overall material quality.
And let's go ahead and talk about the price point for this refreshed 2023 Corolla. You might be thinking, okay, well, Toyota's made some improvements, but how much is the price going to rise? Because it seems to be everything just keeps getting more and more expensive as time goes on. You're going to be very happy to know, for the hybrid model at least, the hybrid LE is actually getting a $1,200 price decrease for 2023. And honestly, guys, that's pretty much unheard of to have a price decrease. They tend to just raise them by about $1,000 every year. So I'm very happy to see Toyota is trying to make it more competitive, even a vehicle that was already very competitive on its price. So that's definitely going to be a bonus this year. And talking about the pricing for the rest of the Corolla lineup, we're going to be starting at $21,550 for the LE gas model. You go up to $26,700 for the gas XSE. The hybrid's going to start at $22,800. The XLE is going to top out at $26,600 in the hybrid lineup. And then you have what we have today. So the SE hybrid is going to be $25,200 plus destination. So all told, we don't have an exact price for this model, but we're probably looking at around a $26,500 to $27,000 price tag for this particular model with the infrared package.
Right, I do believe they mentioned that would be about $500.
Yes.
But overall, it's easy to see why Toyota has sold 50 million Corollas over the lifetime of this nameplate, and I think they're well positioned to sell 50 million more.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us on this in-depth review of the 2023 refreshed Toyota Corolla Hybrid in its new SE trim level. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, please pay us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. Subscribing is what gets us invited to events like these where we can film the latest cars for you all to see. So please go ahead and do that. Tell a friend, tell a family member, And also follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We have other media forms on there that are shorter form videos, and we even have a merch store. So we have you covered on all fronts. So please go ahead and check all those things out. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.